In today's video, we're going to create a custom LED lighting solution with flicker-free dimming and diffused light, a true DIY's dream workbench. Feel free to click subscribe anytime and follow me over on Instagram for all behind the scenes of making these videos. I make tech vids weekly and some of them are DIY projects. This video is one of them. So let's start. G'day, I'm Cam and this is my workbench. Now, I've been recently in here upgrading the head unit on my 2007 Nissan 350Z. There's a video on that coming soon and it's taking it from a 6TD tape deck to a big touchscreen with Android Auto. Huge, awesome upgrade. However, during the process, I had to use my workbenches and I've been reminded by how horrible the lighting is in here. Mainly when I'm working, I'm using this guy. This is a camping light that I just check my battery into and use that to light up the workbench. And I get shadows from above me, the light that's up on top. If I turn off this studio light, this is this space lit with just the light above me, a normal household globe, and this light here. It's quite dark and there's shadows that are casted everywhere. So the intention is to take these LED strips, turn that on, it's a lot brighter, and mount it up under here. This will bring very bright, well-lit workspace area, get rid of some shadows. For this, we're also going to have an on-off switch mounted into the workbench to make it kind of seem a bit more meant to be. And this guy, a 10 kilohertz dimmer. And I'm going to go over why this is super important, especially if you want to film videos in wherever you're using LED strips. Let's get into it. First things first, we're going to upgrade to a 1400 lumen globe. Let me know your best light bulb changing jokes in the comments below. Now that our space is internet tidy, let's check out the parts for today's project. We have an on-off switch with an amazing tactile feel and mechanical clunk. It's very satisfying. A 10 kHz dimmer switch, which I'll explain later why this is so important for any LED strip install, and a few DC plugs to make testing a breeze. For our power supply, I went with a 12 volt 60 watt LED driver, which is terminated to an Australian plug. Yeah, this probably looks weird if you're not Aussie. The other end of the power supply is a simple positive and negative cable which we can connect to one of those DC plugs. The LED strip I chose were a pre-built mountable solution spanning 50 centimeters, containing a diffuser and a metal bracket. The strip itself is metal backed and contains 36 LEDs. These are 8520 chips to be specific. These little guys should be more than bright enough. Whilst we're close up, let's take a look at that dimmer and you will see it says motor, but don't be alarmed, these work perfectly fine with LEDs. Now, this wasn't the first LED driver I tested. I did try a Batum model, which wasn't as bright as a normal 12 volt. That's because it's actually 11.5 volts. So if you see that, I would skip picking one of them up. It's time to take everything down off the bench or the bikes, the tools, so we can then start mounting everything in place. Dude, was that Tony Hawk? With the stuff out of the way, we can remove the top piece of our workbenches. Depending on what you want to attach some strips to, you may not be this lucky. With this removed, we can start measuring out placement. After marking how much to trim from the second LED strip, a sharp pair of snips will do the trick. With LED strips, they're wired in series for every bunch of 3, so simply cutting at the marked lines will allow you to get them down to a desired length. When angle grinding the metal bracket, it was very strange because it didn't spark. Let me know if you know why. After a quick file, I can slide in the LED strips to create a custom length run. A quick strip of some wire and the dimmer is added to the circuit. The DC plugs make this job just as easy as Lego, super quick to connect everything together. Now that we've got a simple run, we can test out the dimmer with our strip. And we have light, flicker-free light. But why is that so? Well, here's a super quick explanation. Power cycles at 50Hz or 60Hz depending on where you live. This equates to a 50Hz or 60Hz flicker on fluorobulbs and other older lighting methods. These LED lights are going to match that cycle with the typical power supply plugged directly in. To a camera, you can crank your shutter speed and actually capture when every LED is turning on and off. But if we use a 10 kHz dimmer, that's 10,000 Hz, or 10,000 times per second. Dimmers are typically known as PWM, pulse width modulation, which is a fancy name for how many times does it turn the light on and off within a second. With 10 kHz, it's so fast a human eye won't even pick it up, and neither will a camera, not unless you're filming in super slow motion. It's now time to get out the soldering iron to join together our LED strips, but the boys wanted to have a mini play break after that dimmer explanation. Norman is turning out to be quite the cheeky bugger, and believe it or not, he is bigger than Bruce at just 8 months old. Putting our strips together, we're ready to solder. Now, I learned to solder back in high school, but you could learn from a 10-minute YouTube video. Just apply a heat and melt the solder to the joint. With a quick snip, the diffusion plastic is cut to length. Repeat everything twice, and now we've got 2 custom length LED lights. Okay, so now it's time to mount everything. I'm going to use those clips to put these strips in place. And I'm also going to drill some holes on the side here to mount the power supply on the edge. Between the 2 strips, we've got a piece of wire, some dual core, and that's just going to run between, there's a little hole here between the 2 workbenches. And that spans the 2 LED strips, allowing me to just plug them in after the fact. For mounting, the clips grab onto the metal bracket firmly. I simply measured out where they need to sit for 3 per light. With the test fit, we can ensure there isn't a shadow being cast by the edge of the lip of the workbench, but also appreciate just how diffused any shadows from an object is. Connecting the second strip, and it's all coming together nicely. For the cherry on top, we're mounting everything else, marking out the switch and dimmer position and pairing the right size drill bit for them to poke through. Mounting the LED driver on the side of the workbench is possible with some custom length screws, giving it a nice flush finish to the edge of the workbench. I've also decided to add some extra power points, given the strips take up a whole plug. Mounting these is also easy with screw hooks on the back. And to really polish off the project, any cables between the power point on the side and the workbench are mounted to the wall and cable managed. We can now flick on mains power, 12 volt DC, and turn up the brightness. Bingo, we're done. So why go to all this effort to make such a beautiful, well-lit, top quality solution, if I say so myself? Well, with every project there is 2 components, form and function, and this one hits the nail on the head with both. For form, well, it needs to look good. It lights up the pegboard with impeccable smooth lighting and looks awesome if it's a backdrop for a YouTube video, which is something that, well, I obviously do. And function-wise, well, it's able to be dimmed to any brightness without causing any flicker on camera or any migraine headaches whilst working under a dimmed lighting source. So that's awesome, as well as shadows casted on this surface here are nice and smooth. They're not harsh like they were before, where I was having to use this camping light just to be able to see what I was working on. I know that when I watch someone on the internet make a video about making things, I don't copy it step for step, and today's video wasn't that. It was more so something to try and spark inspiration in you to complete a different DIY project of your own, or to buy a lighting solution to maybe upgrade your lighting. My videos are to hopefully inspire you about tech, whether that's a piece of budget gear, high value purchase, or some DIY. If that sounds good to you, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and click the notification bell to be alerted when the next video drops. Up next, we've been working on a tactile transducer chair mod, which is essentially adding bass shakers to my gaming chair. So if you're into movie consumption, listening to music, or gaming, you want to check that one out. Thank you so much for watching this far if you have, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.